All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive financial trap that is quietly sitting right there in millions of American driveways, just draining your future 1 month at a time. If you've ever felt like you're working incredibly hard, doing everything right, but somehow you just can't seem to actually get ahead financially, you absolutely need to see the information we've pulled together for you today. So I want you to ask yourself a kind of brutal question right off the bat. What does the person sitting next to you in traffic actually think about your car? The honest truth. Literally nothing. They do not care. They're scrolling on their phones, they're stressing out about their own bills, or they're just wondering what they're going to make for dinner. Nobody cares. And yet, so many of us are shelling out thousands and thousands of dollars every single year, essentially trying to impress strangers who will never even notice us. Now, when we were pulling the data for this next number completely stopped us in our tracks. $730. I really want you to let that sink in for a second. That right there is the average American monthly new car payment right now. It is a terrifying new normal. I mean, anywhere from $400 to over $800 is just vanishing from the average bank account every single month, like absolute clockwork, feeding into a machine that is actively going down in value. So here's our roadmap for breaking this trap wide open today. First, we'll look at the silent wealth killer. Then we'll run through the brutal math of depreciation, unpack the psychology of status, and finally lay out some clear, actionable steps to financial freedom. All right, part one, this silent wealth killer, basically financing a lifestyle that is destroying your future. You know, if you're out there bringing home a really solid paycheck, but you still feel like you can't build any real wealth, this is exactly why. What we consider normal in America right now has become incredibly toxic. See, because your coworkers have a car payment, your neighbors have one, and your brother-in-law acts like his massive $900 truck payment is totally fine, we just kind of assume it's fine for us too. But normal right now means signing up for 6, 7, or even 8-year loans just to afford a depreciating machine. We're literally financing a lifestyle that is quietly destroying our future just to blend in with the crowd. Moving on to part two, the brutal math of depreciation. These are the exact numbers the dealership really doesn't want to show you. Let's look at the cold, hard math here. The stuff they definitely avoid bringing up when you're sitting in that super comfortable leather chair in the finance office. The timeline of what happens next is just staggering. The very second a new car drives off the lot, literally in just the first hour, it loses roughly 10% of its value. By the end of year one, it's down 20%. And by year 5, you've lost 40 to 60% of the original purchase price. Let's do some slow math on that. Let's say you buy a $45,000 car. In 5 years, it's worth maybe $22,000. You just stood there and watched $23,000 evaporate into thin air. Now add the $6,000 to $9,000 you paid in interest on top of that. Your real cost is potentially $30,000 over 5 years on a machine whose main job is just to get you to the grocery store and back. But here, this is where the trap actually springs shut, because most folks don't just keep that car for 5 years, pay it off, and then enjoy driving it for free. Oh no, they trade it in at year 4. They roll the negative equity, meaning the money they still owe that the car is no longer worth, right into the brand new loan. The industry actually calls this being upside down. It is quite literally a financial treadmill, and the auto and banking industries have specifically designed this whole system to keep you running on it forever. Now, I really want you to hear this next part, because this is the craziest opportunity cost of the whole thing. What if that $730 average payment didn't go to a car, but went into a pretty standard index fund returning, say, 7%? If you start doing that at age 35, by the time you hit retirement, you'd have right around $875,000. Even if you start late, at 40, that still gives you $590,000. Starting at 45, $380,000. That is the magic of compound interest at work. So your car payment isn't just costing you $730 a month right now, it is literally costing you $1 million retirement later. Which brings us to part 3, the psychology of status. If the math is really this awful, why on earth do we keep doing it? Well, it basically boils down to a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. Fancy term, but it just means we as humans adapt to shiny new things incredibly fast. Think about the very last time you bought a car. For that first week, you were totally in love, right? You washed it every day. You obsessed over that new car smell. But honestly, how long did that feeling actually last? A month? Maybe 2 months? And then boom, it just became the boring metal box you drive to work in. The excitement completely vanished, but that heavy $700 financial obligation, yeah, that stuck around for another 7 years. There's this great saying, the relief lasts about 2 months, but the payment lasts 7 years. But think about that for a second. What exactly are we getting relief from? It's social comparison. From an evolutionary standpoint, we are hardwired to monitor our status, because historically speaking, higher status literally meant survival. Today, car commercials and social media completely hijack that ancient wiring. When your coworker pulls into the parking lot in a brand new Audi, your brain triggers this primal anxiety that you are somehow falling behind the pack. The auto industry isn't really selling you a car, they are selling you a temporary dose of relief from that status anxiety, and man, they are charging you top dollar for it. This brings us to a super fascinating contrast from the famous research in The Millionaire Next Door. There is a massive difference between looking rich and actually being rich. Looking rich usually means having a big hat, no cattle. You've got the $700 payments, the flashy car, but you're actually sweating it out paycheck to paycheck. Being rich, that usually looks like driving a used, fully paid-off car. It means quiet wealth. See, actual millionaires separate the temporary feeling of status from the hardcore reality of wealth. They know that looking rich actively prevents you from actually being rich. Real wealth is having the option to just walk away from a boss or a job you hate. Your car payment is literally stealing that option from you every single month. All right, part 4, steps to financial freedom. This is where we talk about how you can actually reclaim your wealth. So how do we actually get out of this mess? We've got a practical roadmap to help you start reclaiming that wealth today. Number 1, you need to know your payoff gap. Pull up exactly what you owe right now versus what the car is actually worth on the market. You have to look the trap right in the face. Number 2, drive it to zero. Pay the thing off and then just keep driving it. A reliable, paid-off car is genuinely one of the greatest wealth-building tools on earth, because you can take that $700 and automatically invest it instead. Number 3, if you must buy a car, buy used and boring. Let some other guy take the massive depreciation hit. Buying a 3-year-old Toyota isn't a downgrade, it's a highly strategic financial decision. Number 4, if you absolutely have to finance, keep the loan under 36 months. Trust me, if you can't afford the 36-month payment, you can't afford the car. And number 5, calculate the true total cost. That's the sticker price, plus the interest, plus the insurance, plus the depreciation. But honestly, the biggest takeaway here is a total mindset shift. You have to stop thinking about cars as status symbols and start seeing them for what they actually are, tools. A hammer is a tool, right? You wouldn't go buy a $900 diamond-encrusted hammer just to feel good about yourself. You buy the basic one that drives the nail in reliably. Right now, if you are stuck in this payment cycle, you are spending huge amounts of your hard-earned money to rent a depreciating tool from a bank forever, just to impress strangers at a stoplight who, again, aren't even looking at you. So I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. Just imagine your life, say 5 years from now, with absolutely zero car payment. Imagine taking all that money every month and using it to build a massive emergency fund, a booming retirement account, and finally having the actual freedom to make life choices entirely on your own terms. That is not some wild fantasy. That is simply the mathematical outcome of choosing freedom over the appearance of status. So which one are you going to choose? If this explainer shifted your perspective even a little bit, share it right now with someone you know who's stuck in the payment cycle and really deserves to hear this truth. And hey, don't forget to subscribe for more no-nonsense wealth-building strategies. Your future self is watching what you decide to do today. Let's make it count.